paying to do it. That's what worked out for that was the most character building, to work a hard day's work doing something you hate and realizing you've lost $50. Hey, we're back.
Finally, we are back. We are here with another episode of A Few Grapes More. David and Lachlan. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. We're not in the beautiful setup that we've been in the past few weeks.
We're not in the beautiful ambience we've worked for weeks and weeks to...
No TV in the back with our Fresh Off the Vine logo or anything.
Not even a chair to sit in.
Not even a chair to sit in.
A dusty old couch with a doona without a cover.
But we're comfortable.
Kind of.
We've been ditched from work. Now, so today what we're doing, instead of doing it, giving a whole section to the wine, we're gonna drink it throughout. It's a Saturday. It's Melbourne Cup weekend. I'm gonna have a drink. It's not gonna be. I know you're still doing the 75 hard.
I'm on day 55 of the 75 hard. I finished November 23, and then I'll be back on everything. So looking forward to that.
Today we're going to be drinking a 2019 Cool Climate Shiraz called the Stag.
The Stag.
Yeah.
And not too dissimilar to the Moose. It's supposed to be pretty full-bodied.
Yeah. St. Hubert's the Stag.
St. Hubert's beautiful estate.
Got dark cherry aromas. Blissfulness in the mouth.
Blissful.
Okay. So one thing that we're just gonna pour it and we're gonna drink it as we go.
So I'll obviously be spitting the wine, but it's already looking rich. Be careful not to get any in the blanket. How's that? And a little swivel for the camera.
Little swivel for the camera. And we're just gonna drink as we go.
And obviously, we've had a downgrade in wine glasses as well.
Oh, I think these glasses are nice.
Yeah, they're not. Okay.
So one thing that came to mind, as we've been kicked out of the office, and we can't work there. It made me actually reflect on some of the worst jobs that I've worked in my life, and I've worked pretty much every job you can think of. I think they're like, as a 22-year-old, especially living in Melbourne, there are kind of two lines you go down. You either you get lucky and you get a really good job that you'll work from 18 onwards. Yep. You just get super lucky, or you just do every single thing you can get.
Yeah, you find a trade, or you go to uni, or you fall in between like
the cracks. You fall in the cracks.
Yeah, we fall down. Or no, you fall in between the cracks, or you fall down the cracks.
Yeah. And so I was reflecting on some of the terrible jobs I've done, because I've done literally everything from labouring, digging holes.
Boom.
I've been at a steel factory. I worked at a wheat factory for a few days. I've done absolutely everything in between. I've worked. There's not one essential resource that I haven't sold. I've sold energy, gas. I've done unpaid base gas selling. I've done everything, and I know you've done a few funny things as well.
Victorian, the police magazine.
Oh, remember that?
Me and my friend Ned and Lockie worked there for a day. What we did.
This is the one thing I've done for the cops.
We actually sold an
advertisement for the police.
Victorian police in
a magazine, and on the lunch break, and there was no base wage, it was all commission. And at lunch, I remember our friend Ned and us, who we went out with, Ned spent $25 on sushi. We all had about 4 beers, came back to work, didn't get a sale for the day, and we're down about $80 each.
But I know you've worked a few bad jobs, and I want to hear. I know there's one in particular that I would quite like to hear about.
Okay, I've worked an array of jobs, and some have been good, some have been bad, and some have been well and truly ugly. I did a stint at the wheat and malt factory. Yeah, so it's the Scotch College's sports teachers.
Someone.
And wheat and malt Mortier.
Ned would always try and get us to work there.
So Ned dropped out in year 10 to join the golf academy. And my attendance at school was frugal, to say the least. So I was happy to take a day's work off.
Yeah.
A day of school.
Oh, did you do it during the school year?
Yeah, I took a day off at school to do it. And I missed 3 weeks after that. So we go to the malt factory and Ned gives me, I remember it was a big night on whatever.
Yeah.
And we get to the malt factory in Morty Alex, 6 in the morning, and this bloke picks us up in nothing short of a shit box that was barely running. The guy didn't even fit in the car. He looked like a cartoon character. He then proceeds to tell us how he's addicted to chicken and chips, and this wasn't a joke of addiction. He then goes into talking, it's really affecting my health, and I just can't.
It's like a crippling addiction.
Yeah, crippling addiction to chicken and chips. Every day he had to eat chicken and chips. So we rock up to this malt factory, or what was it? A wheat and malt. And there's not a single worker in the factory. Me and Ned are the sole employees on our 1 day of work. And there's a massive silo full of wheat. And the silo has a little trap door.
It's the oven.
It's the oven. It's where they cook the wheat. So we crawl up the ladder into the trap door, and it's pitch black, and you can't breathe. And he goes, "You guys might need this." And he didn't have 2 pairs of gloves. He just had 1 pair of gloves. So he just said, "Take a glove each." So we had a glove each, and then we were like, "Well, we can't see in here." So he throws a floodlight in there, and in the air you see all this dust from the wheat. And then he gives us an industrial strength cleaning product to clean the inside of the silo with. And the 1 glove, and it was burning our skin while we did it. And as we start to inhale all the wheat, we're getting sick.
Yeah.
And so then he goes, "Fellas, we don't have running water here, but I've got a fridge full of Pepsi." So he keeps throwing in cans of Pepsi into this Pepsi Max into this pitch black silo. So we're drinking this Pepsi Max, wheezing in the wheat and malt. The cleaning utensils burning our skin. And it gets to lunchtime. I'm like, "Ned, I feel fucking sick. I need to drink some water." I'm sweating because there's no running taps here.
No running water.
He goes, "Don't worry, guys. I'll shout lunch today." This fucking fat fuck rocks up with this massive thing of chips and sauce and just says, "Here's lunch." So we sit there just with these hot chips and sauce and Pepsi Max, already feeling so ill. So by the 4th Pepsi Max, me and Ned are cleaning, and we've got our underwear, our eyes full of everything. And he says, "I need you to start shoveling the wheat into the garbage bags." I don't know what they're doing with this wheat. So after about an hour, I start to profusely sweat to the point I'm tearing up while I'm working. I look at Ned, I say, "I can't do this." I'm start shaking. I was feeling so sick.
Because being in a silo, I don't think if people don't know what a silo, it is an enclosed.
It's a little. It's like
room.
this tube. It's like we're inside. Yeah. Think of a can of Coke, but big, just big enough for us to crawl through the little latch. And we're in there with a floodlight. It was a little...
No air circulation.
No, it was so illegal what this cunt was getting us to do. And we hadn't discussed pay either. So Nork just wanted me to do the job with him. So Ned said he could halve his fucking $25 salary with me. So I could work... Anyway, long story short, I get so sick that and profusely shaking that we get in and throwing up into the wheat and the malt that they're then using to make bread and stuff. I'm throwing up into it and dripping my illness into it and pouring the Pepsi Max everywhere and the cleaning products into the... It was just... I don't know what they did with it, but we ended up catching an Uber home, and we spent more on the Uber than we got paid for the whole day.
I reckon hearing about some people's jobs that they've worked from 18 to 22 is the funniest thing. Some people have just done the absolute roguest things.
Well, I mean, we've tried to do it. So we have a knack of finding ourselves in these situations.
Yeah.
But we also create these situations for ourselves. And as you can tell by the way we go about the show, I mean, before we were such lucrative wine salesmen, who knows? You know, we would have been trying just about everything until something clicked. And I think it's a good thing to be able to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And we've never been scared to really...
To go for it.
To go out on a limb. Even in something we can't do, we can't work. I mean, who...
Tell you what, I reckon if I ever had kids, I would encourage them to go out and just try a whole bunch of shitty random jobs. Because it's character building.
Yeah, but there's nothing more character building than doing something you hate with people you hate. Somewhere you hate. Or paying to do it. That's what worked out for my... That was the most character building, to work a hard day's work doing something you hate and realising you've lost $50.
Alright, have you tasted the wine yet?
No.
Taste the wine, man.
Yeah, it's tough for me. I'm not drinking at the
I think
moment.
it's quite nice. It's fruity.
It's a beautiful smell.
Is it?
It's a
So it's a cool climate. Cold stream. It's fruity. Quite nice. I like it.
So straight away, and boom, back to the wine review. Straight away, that is screaming a Victorian Shiraz. Now, 5-6 years ago, if you opened a Heathcote Shiraz at a party or a gathering, or a Victorian Shiraz, you would have probably gotten laughed out of the room.
You would a high end wine tasting. You'd get laughed.
Yeah, you'd get laughed out of the room because everyone knows the best Shiraz comes out of the McLaren Vale, the Barossa, the Coonawarra, South Australia, anywhere a bit warmer, really. But there's been this trend of these cool climate Shirazes coming out of like the Heathcote region, the Yarra Valley, that are starting to pack a bit of a punch. They're the new kids on the block. And it's got this beautiful fruity flavour that's actually enhanced by the cool climate, while maintaining that depth and earthiness of the really old vines that some of those vineyards produce.
I actually almost prefer the softer wines, to be honest. The ones that have a bit of a casual, nice finish on the back end. I really quite like those. I've actually enjoyed. I quite like a Victorian Shiraz, and this is. So you like this?
It's a nice wine.
I think it's really nice.
That's really... I'm sure anyone at home... I bought that just from the Cellar Masters down the road because we're not
really nice.
We're not in the office with all the array of lines we normally have, which is such a luxury we probably take a bit for granted.
Yeah.
So I went into the Cellar Masters. I think at Dan Murphy's it might have been a bit cheaper. They've obviously got a fucking mark up there, but $19.99, and that's fine.
$19.99.
It's a fine wine for $19.99.
We should hashtag cactus.
Hashtag cactus or hashtag sit on it.
Hashtag nose rose.
Rose. Hashtag sit on your cactus. Now, this wine, not a cactus.
Not a cactus at all.
And I wouldn't say it's the exact opposite of the cactus being the full bunch.
It's not the full bunch.
But you get a happy medium here. It doesn't have many cactus qualities. That's a nice wine.
This is not cactus in any way. I actually think this is quite nice, to be honest. I really like the softness of the cool climate wines.
You're lit.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure if everyone, the viewers at home, we might try edit it out, but David's actually worked his way through about fucking 4 of those glasses.
Well, we're comfy, and I'm having a fun. I'm quite warm. I'm cozy. We're having a chat. I actually don't mind this setup, to be completely honest.
Yeah, just don't get premature on me.
Before we do the grape score, people are probably wondering, where's Zach Galifianakis? Well,
yeah, I'm sure everyone's wondering whether Zach Galifianakis is. Kind of.
He had house inspections.
Yeah, so Zach Galifianakis is buying a house on the west side.
Yeah, he reckoned
a townhouse or a unit, and it's going to be amazing.
And because he wasn't allowed to go back to America, he's stuck here in Melbourne.
Thought it's a good time to get into the market.
Thought it was a good time to get in the market, but he told me he was knocking off like 18 inspections today, so he's going to be busy. But he will be back.
He's a hustler.
He will be back within I think next week he'll be back. We'll get him on for a bit of an interview.
Well, everyone can look forward to seeing what he's really like behind the vines.
Behind the vine. Okay, grape score. What are we thinking?
I'm going to give this a 7.2 grapes, right on the nose, because it's got a nice aromatic palate. It's a nice fruity flavour and a nice smooth finish. It's not like the sort of wine that's going to really like, with a Shiraz. Is it? Yeah, it's a Shiraz. With a Shiraz, sometimes you want something that really...
it knocks you.
Knocks you, punches your teeth out.
Yeah.
Whereas this is...
like bites.
Yeah, where this is more... It's not a very challenging wine to drink. And I like a challenge, but it's still... That's a very easy drink. So I would say after the first bottle of the good stuff, you pull out the Stag. And that's the beautiful quaffer.
I'm going to give that... I quite like it. I'm going to give it 7.3. Is that what you give 7.2? So I think it's a little bit better. A little bit better than what you gave it. Because it's nice, but...
You like it gentle, though.
I like it gentle. I like them soft.
And you like to look in the eye.
I like a little something to hold on to.
Soft lips.
Like soft lips.
Yeah, like a good night kiss.
Yeah, I like to be cuddled as I go to bed.
You like to choke the chicken.
Yeah, so 7.3, so that's quite a good score. Thank you very much for listening to a 100% Not a Podcast, A Few Grapes More. We're in the, what are we going to call this room? This room is we'll call this is the study. This is the nest. We're in the nest. We may not be in the nest again, so I hope you enjoyed the first and only episode in the nest.
Yeah, hopefully next time we'll be back in the boardroom.
Thank you very much for watching, and next week we've got a bit of Zach Alf mattress.
Boom.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys.